Alright, so we're back with another battle report. This time we have Dark Angels down yonder with all their vehicles set up versus my Imperial Guard. This is the first time I'm playing my Guard in 9th edition, so that'll be pretty fun with all these bodies piled up in piles. So we'll start over here with the Dark Angels. They have 5 tactical squads over in the corner over there. They're all just pretty much bare bones tactical squads. They have some storm bolters on the sergeants, and other than that they're just normal dudes. Then in the front over here, they have 3 land speeders with assault cannons and heavy bolters. In the back, they have Samael in a land speeder and a Talon Master. Then they have 3 Razorbacks, 2 assault cannons, and 1 las cannon Razorback. 2 Predators. The front one is auto cannon and las cannon sponsons. The next one is las cannons and heavy bolter sponsons. Then they have 5 bare bones Terminators and a multi-melta attack bike. That is their, I missed one thing, and a drop pod. That's their entire list. Lots of heavy weapons, lots of mobility with the land speeders. So we'll see how that does on the objective game. And then over to my list with a pile of dudes. So to start off with my HQs, I have 3 company commanders up here in the front, and the Lehman Russ Demolisher as a tank commander. Troops in these big piles of dudes, I have 8 infantry squads. I'm playing a brigade. So I have 8 infantry squads. Their only upgrade is a single plasma gun in each squad. Ignore the big piles of dudes. Then elites, I have 9 Bulgrin, I have 2 Astropaths, and then these other squads of dudes are, I have 3 command squads with 3 melta-guns, and then 2 special weapon squads with 3 melta-guns. So I have 8 elite slots. That's why I took the brigade to have all 8 of them. Fast attack, just 3 sentinels. And then heavy support, I have a Wyvern, a Manticore, and I kind of went outside the box and took a Death Strike missile. I know it's not good, but I wanted to put it on the table. So that is the army. I have a ton of dudes and some tanks, and he has a ton of tanks. So we'll be back after deployment and see how things turn out. Alright, so we're back after deployment, and I won the roll to choose sides, so I chose the side with more buildings, of course. But they do have all the dense cover over there, so their infantry will be -1 hit if they get in the woods. We're counting this little flat piece as a ruined wall around the outsides, so that's also dense cover if they get inside of it. Other than that, I have just a bunch of infantry, a company commander down here, more infantry with a company commander there behind the objective. My Bulgrin took the building with their 2 Psyker buddies. My Warlord, more infantry, Sentinel, the Manticore and the Wyvern and the last Sentinel, and then finally I spent some points for Strategic Reserve, and the Death Strike and the Tank Commander are coming in reserve, and so are all of my command squads. So I spent, I think, 3 points total to put a bunch of stuff in reserve, and that's my deployment. On the other side of the board, we have a Predator and a Razorback holding this objective, another Razorback, the other Predator, 5 guys on foot, the multi-melta attack bike behind them, all the speeders holding the center, and then finally the last Razorback. And then coming in from reserve, they have a drop pod with 5 guys and 5 Terminators. We rolled for go first, and I got first turn, so I'll be back with Imperial Guard turn 1. Alright, so we're back at the end of Imperial Guard turn 1, and I kind of just moved forward, did some shooting, but most of my shooting is all las guns, so didn't do a whole lot. I put a single wound on that Razorback over there. My Manticore did shoot this Predator and knocked it all the way down to 2 wounds, so that guy only has 2 wounds left. And I did 2 wounds to a speeder with an autocannon from one of my Sentinels, and that was actually all the damage I did. But I did scout move that Sentinel forward, and then there's another one behind the Bastion over there, so I got my engage in all front points. And other than that, I'm raising the banners with 3 of my squads for more points there, and I'm holding all 3 of my objectives. So we'll be back at the end of Dark Angels turn 1 and see how much guardsmen they can remove on turn 1, because they have a lot of assault cannons. Alright, so we're back at the end of Dark Angels turn 1, and you can kind of see the center of the board here. The speeders moved up to the left. All the troops got out of their transports so they could raise the banners and the objectives. I lost this Sentinel to that attack bike, and then the very wounded Predator finished it off. I lost this Sentinel to the Talon Master. The speeders killed 2 squads of guardsmen. I lost 1 Bulgrin from shooting from this Razorback? No, it was a Predator. The Predator, that one there in the building, you can barely see him down there. That Predator had line of sight through here and was able to kill a single Bulgrin. And then I lost 7 dudes out of that squad, and finally lost my other Sentinel that was hiding behind this building. So he got 6 points for Bring It Down for killing my Sentinels, and he got 3 points because he took Grind Them Down, so kill more. So that is where we are at on turn 1. They're ahead on points, but I'm about to score all my banners, and hopefully I'll get more engaged in all fronts again this turn. So we're back with turn 2 from the Guard. Alright, so we're back at the end of Guard turn 2, and it was a much better turn 2 than our turn 1. So the Bullgrin just moved up here. I got both my psychic powers off on them, so they're all buffed up. I brought in my 3 command squads over here, all melted out. I fired into these speeders. He used his stratagem to give him a 4-up invulnerable save, but it really didn't matter, because even being veterans hitting on 3s, I missed with almost everything. So I was only able to kill 1 speeder, but I did kill 1, so that got me 2 points for Bring It Down. These vehicles over here shot across the board. The Wyvern killed some infantry. The Manticore shot into the Razorback that was on the objective and damaged it a bunch. And then back here, I just pretty much held objectives, moved forward a little bit. Those guys advanced for engage on all fronts. And then I came in over here with my Leman Russ Demolisher. He shot in and finished off the Razorback, and his main gun shot in and killed that Predator. So he took down 2 tanks by himself, and then the rest of my shooting from stuff over here and some other tanks in the corner knocked this down to 1 guy, and he's not within 3 of the objectives. So that was really my goal, was to get him off that objective. So I'll only be holding 2, and in this objective, or in this mission, there's 6 objectives, and you have to hold 3 to get the 10 points. So that'll net me 5-point gain on this turn ahead of him. So we're back with Dark Angels turn 2 and see what they can do. Alright, so we're back at the end of Dark Angels turn 2. In the movement phase, they brought in some stuff to reinforce this objective because they only had a lone sergeant left. Some Terminators came in. They shot in and finished off this squad that was here, just an infantry squad, and they attempted to assault my Demolisher. I used the Overwatch stratagem and was able to kill 2 in the assault, and they failed it with a reroll, so that was a big help for me, because if they tagged my tank, that would have been bad, because it got all blast weapons except for the las cannon. Otherwise, they killed a 2-man squad of infantry that was holding there. They just finished them off with some fire from the infantry in the back. And then pretty much everything else went over here. The Ogrins ate a ton of fire and actually tanked most of it. I lost 1 and took 2 wounds on that guy, but there's still 7 left. And all the Meltas died. They shot this squad down to 1, and he actually rolled a 1 for his leadership, so he passed. But other than that, I lost all 3 of the squads to all those angry speeders in the back. I knew it was going to happen if I didn't kill them, but I had to try. So that's where we're at on turn 2 for the Dark Angels. They scored Grind Them Down again, and their banners are still raised. So we're fighting out for points. I'm currently in the lead on the primary, but we'll see how it goes in the secondary. They got me beat by a little bit. So we're back with IG turn 3. Alright, so we're back with Imperial Guard turn 3, and it was our best turn yet for the Guard. In the corner here, you can see my Death Strike came on. I brought it on from reserve. It only fired on a 5 this turn. It's a super janky weapon, but I actually rolled that 5, so it fired off. It shot in. I targeted his speeders with it because there was a big clump of models here. It did 5 mortal wounds to the speeders. It did like 2 mortal wounds to each of his commanders, 2 mortal wounds to that bike, and killed one of the infantry squad there. So it was a super big blast. Still probably not worth the 150 points you pay for it, but it was a lot of fun to roll all the dice. Other than that, I brought in one of my special weapon squads in the corner way over there. They shot in, did nothing to the speeders because they're only Bliss Skill 4+ and they miss a bunch. Other than that, my tanks in the back here, my Manticore fired, finished off the Razorback that was there. My Wyvern, there was 1 speeder that had a single wound on it, so my Wyvern fired in and finished off the last wound on that speeder. Not really its job, but it did it well. All this stuff over here fired in, killed the Terminator squad, and we shot a bunch in the Sergeant, but he actually passed all of his saves. I was able to kill the 5-man squad that came out of the drop pod though, but he is still holding that objective. And that is it for my turn. I did get engaged in all fronts, and I maxed out my Bring It Down this turn. So we're back with Dark Angels turn 3. Alright, so back into Dark Angels turn 3, and they're continuing to move away from my Bullgrin. My Bullgrin just want a hug, really. So they all moved over there, except for the guys holding the objective on the box. They shot in and killed my special weapon squad that came on in the corner. Other than that, the Bullgrin ate a ton of fire, but only took the 1 wound on the 1 wounded guy, so they shrugged off a ton this turn. It was really good for them from all the speeders in the back. Other than that, he killed 1 of my squads that was here holding this objective. And then the bad news for me, a bunch of shots from this Razorback and that multi-melted attack bike went in and took my Leman Russ down to 3 wounds, and then he made a charge. I missed all my Overwatch shots with his Sergeant, so I'm stuck in combat there. So that's where we're at the end of turn 3. We'll be back with the Imperial Guard turn 4. Alright, so back at the Imperial Guard turn 4. I did a little bit of a Hail Mary here, and I declared my Leman Russ to shoot the las cannon, the non-blast weapon, into that Marine, and then all of the rest of his guns into that Razorback that was there. That's what it's called Predator, but Razorback. I actually hit and rolled a 1 to wound with my las cannon, so I command pointed the real 1 to wound, and killed the Marine, so I was actually able to shoot my big guns and everything else into that Razorback, and killed it also. And then it exploded and killed 2 of my guardsmen. Very sad. These guys did move all across the board to contest that objective. My Ogrins moved up and finally got into assault and cleared off that objective. And other than that, I shot a bunch into these guys here in the middle, and he actually made all of his saves. My Manicore fired its last missile, didn't do anything, and my Wyvern shot and tried to kill this attack bike with 1 wound left, and he made all saves there too. So that was a little rough for us. He still has a bunch of big guns left live, but my Death Strike came up to hold this objective, because it's only got a heavy flamer left and it's kind of useless. And that is where we are at. So I scored a bunch of points, but I didn't actually kill very much other than that Razorback. So we're back with Dark Angels turn 4. Alright, so back at Dark Angels turn 4, and as you can see, there's almost no guardsmen left over here. So the speeders and everything moved up behind this building. They shot in the multi-melt attack bike plus some speeders to finish off my Leman Russ. They knocked this squad that was here down 3 models, and then I finished off an assault. Other than that, some shots came in downtown here, killed 5 of them, and then I failed my morale and lost another 2, 1 to the morale test and another to the attrition test, or whatever it's called. And that was it. The Bullgren took some miscellaneous fire from the guys holding that objective, but they survived just fine. So we're back with the last turn for the guard, and then finished up the Dark Angels. Alright, so we're back with turn 5. We just went ahead and did all of turn 5 because nothing happened on my turn. It was really quick. So I just repositioned my commander that was in combat there, just fell back to get me engaged on all fronts. And then my Wyvern moved up, shot into the 1 wound attack bike, and killed him off. And that was literally all of my turn. I scored 15 points in my primary because I held 4 objectives. He only held 2. And I maxed out Bring It Down earlier in the game. I also got banners and engage on all fronts almost maxed out. So they're really good on the secondary, maxed out the primary. And then as far as Dark Angels turn 5 goes, he was trying to grind them down, so he killed 3 of my units. He tried to kill this one. He knocked down to 1 wound in assault with his 2, with Samael and the Talon Master. He would have got 3 more points for Bring It Down if that one had died as well. But that was the end of it. It ended up being 47 to 86, guard win, but I do have unpainted Ogrins, so if you go by paint score, it actually would have been 57 for the Dark Angels because they are fully painted. The Leman Russ was really the MVP. That one turn that I was able to use the stratagem to fire at max ballistic skill and then kill that lone Marine he was in combat with was a real saver. So I was able to get this objective from the next turn and take his banner down. So that was it. Anyway, it was a good list. I was really impressed with the Manicore. Really swingy though. One turn it did absolutely nothing. The next turn it just blew up a tank. I used the Tank Ace ability to give it max damage with each of its shots, and it did really well. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with another one later.